You called it a delay. You said the system was slow, that success just takes time. But what if the system isn't slow? It's designed to delay you. You worked harder, you saved more, you waited for the right moment, yet every time you got close to freedom, something pulled you back. A new bill, a new debt, a new illusion. You thought you were waiting for opportunity, but the truth is, the system was training your patience to serve its rhythm. You thought time was on your side, but time is the weapon the rich use to keep you obedient. They call it stability. Banks call it security. Society calls it success. But it's just a prettier name for financial slavery, because when you finally stop chasing the blessing, you start seeing the trap. The delay was never divine. It was designed, not to test your faith, but to control your freedom. Every system needs a rhythm, and the financial one is built to slow you down, not to stop you, just enough to make you believe you're still moving. They tell you, work hard, stay consistent, be patient. But patience inside a trap isn't virtue. It's obedience. You wake up, work, wait for your next paycheck, and call that progress. But you're not progressing, you're circulating. Like money moving inside the same machine, you're part of a cycle where your delay is someone else's dividend. The system doesn't fear your failure, it fears your awareness. Because the moment you realize the game is not about money, but about time, you start asking the only dangerous question: who's profiting from my waiting? Every interest rate, every late fee, every monthly payment plan is a mechanism designed to turn your patience into profit. The banks don't want you broke, they want you almost free, almost debt-free, almost wealthy, almost there, because almost keeps you coming back. You call it delay, they call it design. The system doesn't need bars to keep you inside, it only needs belief. Belief that your patience is moral, that working late means progress, that being exhausted means you're doing the right thing. You were never taught to question the rhythm, only to endure it. From the first paycheck, they trained you to trade your time for approval, to chase small rewards that feel like freedom, weekends, raises, discounts, fake choices. And you accepted it because the illusion of movement is stronger than the fear of standing still. That's how obedience becomes invisible, not forced, conditioned. You obey not because someone told you to, but because the system made comfort addictive. The same way a loan feels like opportunity, debt feels like responsibility, and stability feels like safety, when in truth, each one is a soft leash around your potential. The real prison isn't your job. It's the narrative that tells you to be grateful. It feels like you've been taught that in reality, it's how the later pays most profitable, not gold prices. When you wait, inflation eats your saving, and while you wait for life to change, the system quietly collects rent on your hope. That's the engine, a machine that feeds on human patience. Every bill, every credit card, every paycheck delay is perfectly calibrated to keep you believing the lie that next month will be different. But next month is just a product, sold to you by the same corporations that sell dreams on credit. The rich don't sell time, they buy it. They use your waiting to extend their comfort, because while you freeze your plans, they're multiplying what you postponed. The delay isn't random, it's systemic. It's the engine of the modern economy, a cycle where your patience funds their power, where your discipline becomes their dividend. And the cruelest part? You think you're being responsible, when in truth, you're financing your own cage. The most dangerous prison is the one that feels safe. That's why the system doesn't chain your hands, it cushions. It gives you a salary to survive, entertainment to distract, and comfort to silence the thought that you might be trapped. You call it stability. But stability is just the word they use to decorate your obedience. The system learned that fear creates rebellion, but comfort creates loyalty. So it gives you just enough to stop asking questions, enough to keep you tired, but function, enough to make you grateful for the crumbs. Because gratitude is cheaper than freedom. You wake up, drive the same road, sit in the same chair, and call it normal. But normal is the language of captivity. The truth is, comfort is currency. And the more comfortable you become, the less you demand. That's why the system sells peace of mind, mortgages, insurance, job security, all illusions built to make you feel safe while staying on. You think comfort means control, but in reality, it's the perfect disguise for control itself. The system never loved you, it just needed you productive enough to keep it alive. But every machine has a cycle, and once it no longer needs a part, it replaces it. That's why they built automation. That's why AI isn't intelligence, it's efficiency. The next generation of control doesn't come with chains, it comes with convenience. They don't need your hands, they need your data. They don't need your time, they need your attention. Because attention is the new labor. The scrolling, the buying, the waiting, it's all work. You just don't get paid for it anymore. And when you stop producing, the system doesn't punish you, it forgets you. The same structure that told you to work hard and stay loyal now rewards machines for replacing you faster. You gave your life to an economy that only measures worth in output, and when the output ends, so does your meaning inside it. That's why the silence after retirement feels so loud, because for the first time, you realize you were never free, only functional. And when a machine stops being functional, the system doesn't fix it, it discards it. Every trap collapses the same way, not when it breaks, but when you see it. That's the moment the system fears most, when obedience turns into observation, when you stop calling exhaustion purpose, when you stop worshipping stability, when you start noticing that every product sold as freedom comes with a contract of control. That's awakening, not escaping the system, but seeing it without the filter. You start realizing that the real wealth isn't in accumulation, but in awareness, because what you see clearly can't enslave you again. The world won't change because you noticed the lie, but you will. You'll stop moving at the rhythm they built. You'll stop selling your time to buy comfort you don't need. You'll start trading consumption for consciousness. And that's where the real rebellion begins. Not outside, but inside. The system can control your paycheck, but it can't control your perception. Once you see how the machine works, you stop being its fuel. That's the awakening they can't monetize. Every empire survives the same way, by convincing its slaves they're free. And every generation repeats the same mistake, calling comfort peace, calling debt progress, calling obedience success. You've been told what to buy, how to think, when to rest. You've been programmed to chase approval instead of freedom. And now that you see it, the system doesn't need to punish you. It just needs you silent, because awareness without action is still obedience. That's why there's only one question they can't afford you to ask, the question that burns the illusion down. Who profits when I obey? Ask it once, and everything starts falling apart. The ads stop working. The fear loses power. The noise becomes transparent, because truth doesn't need volume, just vision. And if you're hearing this right now, you're not late, you're just waking up. So tell me, now that you see the trap, will you keep walking, or finally stop feeding it?